you guys. This is the second installment of the question that Lisette and I have posed to ourselves to answer a little bit or to talk more about is, do we believe that white people understand the divide that they've created between Black and Brown communities, particularly I think here in Chicago, because that's where we live, but also just across the country and internationally as well, because race is not just here in the United States. So I'm Martina, this is Lisette, and we're just continuing the conversation about this. I think we left off talking about nonprofit.
Yeah, I think we left off with your eloquent description of the role that I think nonprofits. I don't think it's unique to Chicago. I think
no.
I think nonprofits serve a great resource and are a great thing, but I think there comes a point where they continue to just another organization, or collaborative gets created and then it becomes a nonprofit. And
oh my goodness.
Yeah, and it's like there's a plethora of them. There's a lot of them. Just even if you just focus on Chicago, there's so many. And this is not anything against nonprofits, please. No. I think that we work in nonprofit. We know the usefulness and we know it. But I am with you, Martina, on the fact that there has to be a better way for us to harness the power of the current nonprofits in this city to really move towards changing policy systems, changing the environment in our communities, because we are not there at all as nonprofits. And both large and small ones, like we're not communicating. There's efforts between some that that I've seen, but there's always that. I feel like there's always that idea of like oh my, but well, we need the money, so we need to go for it. And there's always an attempt to bring things together, but when it comes to well, who's gonna pay for it or who's gonna do it, all these things, and it just becomes well, you know what, I don't know about sharing the resources, we need to get the money, we need to pay, and it's I get it, yeah, you have staff that you need to pay, but I was there has to be a way for, I feel like there's the community nonprofits, right? You have the community nonprofits, you have these intermediaries that are right here in the middle that kind of have the reputation with the funders and all these, and they're big enough to be able to be trusted by a large bank or a large corporation to handle the money, and then the money flows from them to the smaller community. And I'm there has to be a better way to have the intermediaries to work together to help the community nonprofits, and then the community nonprofits to be able to share and all that. But it's just, I haven't seen that happen. I haven't seen that kind of work out. And I see efforts of trying to get these collaboratives together, and you create these things, but then they get created and they get established, and then they need to have funds, and they have to and it's
nothing happens, or you got to get another grant to support a grant.
Yeah. And oh well, and it's grants, and I'm I just want people to go and change these policies. Why can't we focus on policies? Why can't we focus on policies? There needs to be a change in that, because that's where real change happens.
Both thumbs, yes.
And it's there has to be more of that, but it has to be in a unified way. That's gonna be, because if only one or two focus on a policy,
no, that's not change. And I think you said this in the past, where you're oh goodness, what did you say? You were you said something along the lines that the government does the bare minimum because we don't push them enough. You've said something like that along this line, we need to expect more out of our government in those systems. Yeah. And I think that's so true. And if I have to be on another task force, I don't want to be on another task force. I think it's great. Like I said, I'm not saying like, I really do believe nonprofits do serve a role. It serves a very important role, but it has filled the role of the government. What,
Yeah.
to me, I think the government should be providing those sort of services. And yet, like, again, this is all part of that white supremacist kind of umbrella, but it's basically like, well, we're not going to give you the money, like saying the government, but okay, we are allowing you to have 501c3s, which is the nonprofit,
Mhm.
and coalitions and your task forces, so you can go out there and do it. We don't want to be involved in it, but the government needs to be, and not in a way to tell you what to do, in a sense, trying to run it, trying to tell you how to better your communities, but the government needs to be funding certain things and they need to do it in the community.
Mhm.
And because I'm just frustrated at seeing, because if you look at the nonprofit, there's so many nonprofits. Like, I've worked for nonprofits that were resource rich and some that were not so resource rich, and the ones who are more resource rich run like a corporation. um and they often have more backing, they have the resources, and oftentimes it's still the same mentality where your staff is like work to the bone, people wearing multiple hats, and you're still trying to go out and serve the community. And I think that's great, but I think it really comes down to the government needs to play a bigger role in it and stop putting these issues back onto the community when the community didn't create these issues.
Mhm.
It doesn't stem from them. It stems from the government that has allowed these policies, whether it's been policies 10 years ago or 100 years ago, these policies that have taken place to come in and create these fragmented communities, these divisions, creating silos where you have nonprofits competing with each other because they're all trying to get the same grant. If there's a $500,000 grant out there, I bet everybody's trying to go for it. And instead of creating this unity, especially around the minorities, it just further divides because everybody feels, well, there's not enough. There's not enough money for everybody to get it.
Yeah.
Same thing, you're supplying things that the government should be supplying. You should not be, you're just basically asking people to take $500,000. And the system with some of these grants is that a lot of them, they will give you the money, but it's like the contractual issues are just like from A to Z,
Yeah.
1 to 1,000. You got to do this, you got to do that. Just give people money. Like, I don't know. I just, the whole thing really bothers me because it's like, give people the money. If you want them to have it, once it's theirs, it's theirs.
Yeah.
If you don't trust them to do with it what you think or what they feel that they're going to do for the greater good of the community or Chicago, wherever, then why would you even go there? Don't try to dictate what they do with the money, because to me, it's like, once I give you something, it's yours. Like, I don't need a report on what you did with it. Like, I think it's great, but we work in a world where you have to have a mid-year report. You got to have a final report. I need to know where the money's going. How many people have you hired? How many supplies are you? Jesus Christ! Like,
Yeah, like, and it's if it's frustrating, and I hear from, like, smaller organizations, or like, but we're in a bind because we can't say no to the money. We have to take it even with all those conditions.
yep.
And it's like, oh, that sucks that you have to, like, this whole idea of, like, and I don't know, I'm assuming it just stems from white supremacy, because everything to me just stems from
Everything does. Everything.
But this idea that you can't trust a community organization to put that money into good use, right? And sort of, especially a community organization that's been in the community for a very long time. Like, we're not talking about one that just maybe popped up like a year or two ago. You're talking about, like, organizations that have a stake in the community, that have been around, and to have to, like, give first what you plan on doing, a mid-year report, a final report, and then, like, give accounts of, like, where all the money went. Like, we need line by line, like, what you spent it on, like, where, like show me all the receipts, like, all these things. And it's like, my goodness, like, I wouldn't want to, like, but you're not, when you're dependent on grant funding and all those things because the government doesn't want to help support nonprofits or help, like, but they want them to continue doing the work.
So they don't have to.
So they don't have to, but you're not going to help them in any monetary way, because it's seen as charity is bad in the United States. Like, oh, I can't, like, oh my goodness, like, you have to work hard for it, you have to show something for it. And it's like, no, like, I've been doing the work, we are doing it, and there is a real need, but you have to prove that the need is there. And it's like, that's, to me, it's just mind-boggling, like how much you have to prove that the need is there versus like, hey, it's there. Like, I don't need to prove anything to you, but in order to get anything, you just have to prove it, versus like, hey, let's versus like, okay, let's just give them the money, they can do what they need to do with it, and we'll be okay. It's there. But it's such a mentality from the government. It's a mentality from funders. I think, large donors, people that are funding and have this notion of like, well, what's my return on investment? I hate that term, return on investment. I'm like, your return on investment is that you did something good and you gave.
You're improving people's lives.
Like, there you go. You shouldn't like, I hate that there's this expectation of like, how many people did you feed? How many people did you do this? And I'm like, if I only fed 2 people, like, that's a great return on investment. Like, but this idea that there has to be hundreds and like thousands of people that are impacted through my donation, or I don't want to give it. And it's like, that to me is the worst. Like, I can't stand that. I can't stand that side of things sometimes.
And that too. And then I just think about just all the competition it creates just amongst the community-based organizations and among the residents. And that further divides a group of people who are already struggling to focus on their own people, but then also trying to work with other groups of people. It just further divides. And it's just, and that's what I say, like, I'm all for nonprofits in a sense, but there needs to be more unity, and where a lot of, like, stop creating so many nonprofits and work with the ones that we have. And those that are here need to be working with their government entities to try to change things, because you can try to do a food pantry all day, but honey, you're going to keep feeding people for forever if we don't get policies that allow for that, that allow for healthy foods and things like that. So it's just going to keep happening. What's changing? Yeah. And it's just like, these are things we already know. We know these things, but same cycle.
You touched on something, I know you touched on it a few times, this like working with those that already exist, because where I live, like, I've seen in the last few years these like collaboratives or just people like create who have now become 501c3s, and I'm like, but there already exists some nonprofits. Why couldn't you, as individuals who wanted to do something, why couldn't you like partner up with that institution, like with that nonprofit? Or why isn't there like a collaborative meeting that happens on a regular basis between the nonprofits? But that idea of competition, the idea that I don't want to do what they're doing because that's not how I would do it. So I want to do it my way. So I'm going to create something so that I can do it my way.
And it's the same damn thing, but you just want to do it your way.
But you're just, because you want to call the shots, like
right.
You want to call the shots, or your group of people want to call the shots because you think that you're doing a better job than that other organization that maybe has been here for a very long time. And you think like, well, they're outdated or whatever the connotation may be.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but you all want, at the end of the day, you all just want to help your communities that are out here, whether it's on the west side, the south side, the southwest side. Like, if you all just put that aside, the mentality that you want to do in a certain way, and I think it's very much I would say a white supremacist mentality of like, it's my way, I know better, like we should do, like this whole idea of like working in silos and sort of this versus, we both talk about it in another video about like this community sense between like black and brown, like within our own communities. Is like, it's the same mentality that we need, that community mentality we need within our nonprofits, to really think like, okay, how can we work together? How can we find these common ground across issues that we all care about? Food security, we care about getting people jobs, we care about making sure that our communities look beautiful, that they're kept up nice, that we have access to, walkable streets, we have walkable, safe environments like parks and things like that. Like, find those common grounds. And I know there's efforts to create these plans and these things, but then you have someone that's leading it, but you don't have all these nonprofits together. Like, it's just that community mentality I think is missing. And I think there's some that are trying to make it more of like, well, we don't all longer want like a lead agency, we want like a lead collaborative group, but we want you all to create the lead collaborative group. And it's like, you want people that have never really worked with each other to figure out how they're finally going to work together and create this plan without providing spaces to lead up to that. Like, you need to allow that space. We need to start working towards that. And before people say like, well, what are you, Lisette and Martina, doing towards that? Because I mean, I would ask that of whoever.
We do it every day. We just can't really talk about it on here.
Yeah, so we do it and we try, and I think but honestly, I think this forum that we have here is our way of wanting to figure out how to do it with those that are viewing. If you're from Chicago, like, throw in a comment and let us know if you're interested. We happy to kind of chat through and figure out how can we do this, because I think it's going to take definitely some innovative thinking. It's going to take younger generations to really drive that change with that. But at the end of the day, like, you and I say this all the time, like, it's all tied back to just white supremacy, white supremacist ideals, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating as a brown woman to say that. And I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
I'm frustrated too as a Black woman, because it's the same. Oh, and we keep talking about the same thing. I mean, sure, there's a podcast or some more videos out there talking about exactly what we're talking about, the nonprofit. So it's like, we all know, but there's nothing happening.
Yeah.
Like, and people say, well, we need this, we need that. Well, then make it happen. What do you need? Like, because where you have one organization that focuses on this, somebody else, everybody bring their expertise. Like, everybody has their specialty. What can we all do? Like, it's easy to kind of sit and complain and bitch about everything, especially given what's everything that's going on. But really, like, what can we all do? It's for, I think, people who are in that world per se. But I really think, like, we do need to start demanding more from our politicians. Like, we put you in this position. And, I take what politicians say with a grain of salt, but you have some good ones. You do have some good ones who are really trying to make a difference. And we need more of those. And we really just need to make the government more accountable. Once they're more accountable, we can get more shit done. We can actually get stuff done. But we're not there. We're not there yet. And but that was, I feel like I bitched a lot, but I'm doing something about it every day. So yeah, I would be really interested in hearing from the subscribers of people who stumble upon our video and watch it. Like, what are your thoughts in terms of, this issue with nonprofits and the government? Do you feel nonprofits are the new government, or maybe they've been the government sometimes because the government hasn't been doing their job? I would just be interested in hearing that and be nice with your comments, as we say. But yes, we welcome them. But yeah, I said a lot.
No, I think we both have said a lot, and I think we both agree on a lot of things. And yeah, we both respectively are trying to do something in our professional lives to figure something out, and how do we create that those spaces. But it's hard, y'all. It's hard to do that, and it's gonna take time. Uh, but yeah, like Martina said, please, we're both interested in hearing what you all think about nonprofits, the roles that they play within our communities and our society, but also just how white supremacy has sort of created these ideals, and allowed really our governments to kind of take a step back from really dealing with social issues in our communities, and giving that responsibility to another institution that isn't them. But yeah, let's exercise our rights to really hold our politicians accountable. I don't know if this video is going to come out before or after our US election, but either way, please go out, vote. If you voted, thank you.
If you didn't vote, I'm sorry. Shame
Yeah.
on you.
Exercise your vote, regardless of your party affiliation. Exercise your right, because either way, someone fought for that right for you. So thank you all for sticking. Thank you all for sticking with us, for listening. We look forward to hearing your comments, your thoughts, and we will see you at our next episode. Thank you all.
Take care.